Gee whiz.
Hello, friends. My name is John Henderson, and welcome to this series of old-time radio show episodes called Gee Whiz. These are stories of the schemes, trials, and loves of the typical American teenagers. Andy Hardy, Archie Andrews, and Henry Aldrich. Coming up, we meet Andy Hardy for the first time. But before that, travel with me out of the modern day, back to a simpler time. A time when you could buy a youngster a meal for 35 cents. But why save money? Why not go out and spend $1.25? That's what I say. This is the Aldrich family from September 26th, 1946.
Coming, Mother.
The Aldrich Family, based on characters originated by Clifford Goldsmith and starring Ezra Stone as Henry, Jackie Kelk as Homer. And now for the Aldrich family. Everyone knows that as we grow older, the years begin to travel more swiftly. But when you're a teenage boy like Henry Aldrich, every year is a lifetime, for each minute is packed full of fun and adventure. The scene opens in the Aldrich living room.
Mary, I can hardly believe my ears.
My goodness, Henry, all I did was ask you a perfectly civil question. I'm sure I don't know what you're so excited about.
You don't? Mary, I was sitting here minding my own business, and you walked up to me and said a thing like that.
All I said was that Joe Graham is coming over for dinner tonight.
Sure. And then you asked me what time I was getting out of the house.
Well, that's all I want to know, Henry. What time are you getting out?
But, Mary, I've been looking forward to that roast duck all day.
Henry, you can't do a thing like this to me.
I can't do what?
You can't possibly intend to sit there at the table and have dinner with us.
Gee whiz, why not? Joe and I get along swell.
Henry, do you remember what happened the last time Joe was here for dinner? If you said it once, you said it 100 times. Joe was the only boyfriend I had.
Mary, you just don't understand men. That makes a man feel good. If he hasn't any competition, what's he got to worry about?
Oh, what's the use, Mother?
Now listen, Mary, don't go dragging Mother into this.
All right, then I'll give you one more chance. Are you going to get out or aren't you?
But Mary, where can I go? If my own family doesn't want me, who else would?
What I've been trying to tell you is that I phoned Homer a little while ago and asked if you could have dinner with them.
You mean you'd force me down Mrs. Brown's throat?
Homer says he's sure his mother would be delighted, and he's working on it right now.
Oh, no, Mary, oh, no.
Oh, no, what?
I'm not going to impose myself on anybody that has to be worked on.
Very well, Henry, you've had your chance. Mother!
Okay, Mary, go ahead. Go ahead and tell her. I know my rights.
Mother, where are you?
I'm in the kitchen, Mary, basting the duck. Sam Aldrich, take your hands off those olives.
But I'm hungry, Alice. Can I have just one?
Mother, I could just die.
All right, Sam, you may have one, but that's all.
Ah.
Mother...
Sam?
What's the matter?
Not the one on top of the salad. It took me 15 minutes to cut it to look like a rose.
Is that what it looks like?
Take one out of the dish.
Mother, I don't mean to criticize, but what's more important to you? An olive that looks like a rose or my future happiness?
Now, dear, what's the matter?
Do you know what Henry's going to do to me? Do you know what he's going to do?
What?
He's going to have dinner with us tonight.
Well, that seems natural. He lives here.
Of course, Mary, and he's perfectly entitled to have dinner with us if he wants to.
But, Mother, tonight. Don't you remember what happened the last time Joe Graham was here for dinner?
You mean when you spilled the gravy in Joe's lap?
Father, that was because Henry had me so upset by the things he was saying. I was positively trembling.
In a way, Sam, I can see Mary's point of view. After all, Joe is practically the only boyfriend she has.
Mother.
Listen, Mary, will you just tell me one thing?
You mean you changed your mind?
Gee whiz, no. But look, would it fix things up if I told Joe you had a different boyfriend here every night?
You see, Mother? You see?
That sounds feasible to me.
Sure.
Mary, you just don't understand men. They like to feel they have lots of competition.
Father, all I ask is that I be allowed to live my own life.
Well, gee whiz, Mary, go ahead. Who's stopping you?
Mother, what am I to do?
Mary, at the moment, I'm much more concerned with this duck than Joe Graham. I wash my hands of the whole affair.
Hey, Henry. My goodness, what's Homer doing over here?
We're out here in the kitchen, Homer.
The kitchen? Oh, boy.
Sam, hide those olives.
Right.
Boy, does this house smell good. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Homer, old-timer.
Well, I'm here.
So I see.
Boy, are we having that duck for dinner?
No, we are.
We are? Oh, boy.
Now, wait a minute, Homer. What exactly are you doing over here?
Gee, Mrs. Aldrich, I was invited over for dinner.
What? Who invited you?
You did.
I did.
Don't you remember, Mary? I said my mother would be delighted to have me come.
Homer,
Well, gee
you
whiz.
misunderstood me entirely. I didn't invite you over here.
You didn't.
Alice, if it would help matters any, I'd be glad to have dinner out.
Now, Sam, we couldn't do that. Who'd carve the duck? Homer, it isn't that we wouldn't love to have you.
You would, boy.
But not tonight, dear. And I'm afraid you'll just have to go home.
But, Mrs. Aldrich, I can't.
Why not?
Well, when I told my mother I was going out, she said this was her chance to have some people in for dinner.
Oh, my goodness.
And she doesn't want to see me again till 11 o'clock tonight.
Boy, Homer, you know, we should have done this more often.
I'll say. Listen, are you sure you've still got all the money?
Sure, I'm sure. It's all tied in my handkerchief, right where my mother put it.
Gee, there's nothing like two old friends going out to dinner together.
I'll say.
How much have we got again?
We have $1.25 each, Homer. I've told you 1,000,000 times.
I know, but I still can't believe it. Whenever my mother kicks me out of the house, all I get is 35 cents.
Homer, I hope you don't think my mother kicked us out.
Oh, that's all right, Hen, old-timer. I understand. Gee, you can't hurt my feelings.
Anyway, we wouldn't have enjoyed ourselves. Whenever Mary has a boyfriend up for dinner, all my mother talks about is what a good cook Mary is, and how she makes all her own clothes.
Gee, did Mary cook that dinner?
No, but she peeled the radishes, though.
I didn't know you peeled radishes.
Mary does. She doesn't know how to clean them.
Boy, Hen, I know where let's go. Let's go to the candy kitchen.
The candy kitchen, but Homer, all you can get there is dessert.
Sure. Think of all the desserts we could get for $1.25.
No, let's go to the mansion house.
Henry, they charge millions of dollars at the mansion house.
They do not. You can get a real swell dinner for $1.25.
Yeah, and you could put it all on a piece of bread and make a sandwich out of it.
Listen, Homer, one of us has to be sensible. Boy, anybody who'd eat $1.25 worth of desserts.
Okay.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, that's all. It's your money. I'm only the guest.
Homer, I haven't hurt your feelings, have I?
Come to think of it, I wasn't even invited in the first place.
Now, Homer...
That's all right, Henry. Don't bother trying to explain. We'll go to the mansion house.
Well, gee whiz, if you're going to sulk.
Who's sulking?
If that's your attitude, let's go to the candy kitchen.
Oh, no, I wouldn't think of going to the candy kitchen. We'll go to the mansion house.
Oh, no, we won't.
Listen, you couldn't drag me into the candy kitchen with a team of wild horses.
Well, I'm darned if I'll set foot in the mansion house.
Now listen, Henry.
Now listen, Homer.
Mother, I just can't stand it.
Now, Mary, don't go all to pieces.
Look, when Joe gets here, why don't I just take him out someplace for dinner?
You'll do no such thing. Frankly, I'm getting a little tired of this whole business. Now, where are the boys?
Henry's up in his room, eating jelly beans from last Easter.
Jelly beans? My goodness, he'll make himself sick.
He says he hopes he does. And Homer's sitting in the whole closet.
Where?
The whole closet, Mother. He says Henry gave him permission to sit there and sulk if he wants to.
Well, you go and tell them both to stop this foolishness at once. Tell them I'll expect to see them at dinner in 15 minutes.
You mean at our dinner table? But, Mother, what about Joe?
Mary, if you mention Joe just once more, I'll go out for dinner myself. Now do as you're told.
My goodness.
Sam Aldrich, get away from those radishes.
You mean these white things? I thought they were onions.
Homer! Are you still in the closet?
Who's that?
It's Mary.
Okay, you can come in.
Homer, you come out of that closet. You'll smother to death.
I hope I do.
My mother says you're to have dinner with her.
She does? Oh, is Henry going to be there?
Certainly he is. He lives here, doesn't he?
Then I'll just stay right here. Tell your mother thanks just the same, but I'd rather starve.
Well, my goodness.
And please close the door after you.
All right, then. All right. Henry!
I'm here in my room, if anybody's interested.
Henry Aldrich, you listen to me.
How do you do?
Mother sent me up here to invite you to dinner, and I hope you're satisfied.
Would you care for a jelly bean?
Henry, did you hear me?
Mary, please convey my regrets and tell Mother I wouldn't think of imposing on my own family for a meal.
Now, look, are you sulking, too?
Of course I'm not sulking. I know when I'm not wanted.
Well, my goodness, Mother! Oh, my goodness.
Hello, Mary.
Joe, it's you.
Weren't you expecting me?
Why, yes, of course, Joe. It's just that I'm so upset. Well, come on in.
Thank you. Did you just come in?
No, I'm going out. Just for a few minutes, Joe. I have to see somebody about my brother.
Oh, is he going to be here for dinner?
Not if I can help it. That is, I'll be back in a few minutes, Joe. Goodbye.
But, Mary...
Is that you, Joe?
Yes, it is, Mr. Aldrich.
Just hang your coat up in the hall closet and come on in the living room.
All right, sir. Oh, excuse me. I thought this was the closet.
It is.
It is. Well, are you looking for something?
No.
Oh.
Here, give me your coat. I'll hang it up for you.
But I don't want
Oh, that's all right. I'd be glad of something to do.
Oh. Well, thanks.
And would you please close the door after you?
Close it? Oh, sure.
You coming in the living room, Joe?
Yes, Mr. Aldrich, I'm coming.
I'm sorry I couldn't come to the door. I'm trying to get a little fire going here.
Mr. Aldrich,
What's the matter, Joe? You look pale. Have you been working pretty hard?
Working? Yeah, that's probably it. I've just been working too hard. The only thing is...
Yes, Joe?
Mr. Aldrich, have you noticed anything unusual about your hall closet?
Oh, you mean all that junk?
Junk?
That's been accumulating for years. Anytime this family wants to get rid of anything, they just stuff it in the hall closet.
They do. Gee.
Ever so often we clean it out and throw everything away, but it always manages to come back.
Is that right?
It's gotten to be a sort of family skeleton.
Skeleton? Gee, I could have sworn that...
What, Joe?
Nothing.
Oh, will you excuse me, Joe, while I answer the phone?
Sure, Mr. Aldrich. I'll just lie down for a minute. Hello?
Hello, is that you, Mr. Aldrich?
Yes?
This is String Bean.
Who?
String Bean Kittinger.
Oh, hello, String Bean.
Listen, I just met Mary on the street, and has Henry and Homer got a dinner invitation yet?
Why, no, they haven't.
Oh, boy. Then I'm not too late. Gee, I ran to the first phone booth I came to. Do you suppose they could come to my house for dinner?
Why, I should think they'd be delighted, String Bean.
Oh, boy, imagine. 2 men and both of them at once.
What's that?
Tell them to come over in a half an hour, Mr. Aldrich. It'll take me that long to comb the kinks out of my hair. Goodbye.
Goodbye, String Bean. Oh, Olive.
Sam, what's gone wrong now?
Nothing's gone wrong, dear. I've just fixed Henry and Homer up with a dinner invitation.
Well, thank goodness. Was that Mrs. Anderson or Kathleen who called?
The Anderson? Alice, the boys have been invited to the Kittingers.
And you accepted?
Certainly, if they won't eat at home, they have to eat someplace.
But, Sam, Mary's gone to ask Mrs. Anderson if they can have dinner over there.
What's that?
So, dear, you'll have to get the car out and try to catch her.
But, Alice, what about Joe?
Frankly, Sam Aldrich, I don't care what... My goodness, what's he doing? Oh, Joe, dear, those olives are for dinner.
getting back to the troubles of Henry Aldrich. When Mary invited Joe Graham up to the house for dinner, she made the mistake of trying to get rid of Henry. At the moment, Joe is sitting in the living room reading travel magazines while the family is having a meeting in Henry's bedroom.
Alice, they've got to have dinner at the Kittingers. Do you realize Frank Kittinger is one of my best clients? I can't afford to offend him.
Father. But, Sam, how can I phone Mrs. Anderson and say they aren't coming?
You can have Mary phone her.
Father.
What? After deliberately sending her over to ask for the invitation?
Father, could I voice an opinion?
You may not. You voiced too many already.
Henry, stop eating those jelly beans. You'll need your appetite at the Andersons.
At the Kittingers.
But, Mother, I'd rather just stay here in my room than have to go out any place with Homer.
You'll go out with Homer and like it.
Yes, sir.
Sam, I don't understand why you weren't able to catch up with Mary before she got to the Andersons.
Now, Alice, that's a long story.
Father, Joe's car has been stolen.
Mary.
He says he left it in the driveway, and just now when he looked out the window, it was gone.
Well, tell him not to worry about it.
Not to worry. Gee whiz, Father, that car cost Joe $150.
Well, anyway, he says that thief will get an awful surprise when he goes to push the cigarette lighter. What do you suppose happened?
What?
The whole roof falls on top of you.
Father!
Sam Aldrich,
Alice,
did
I
you-
had to take it. It was blocking the driveway. And Mary, tell Joe he can take his car up at the garage tomorrow, and it'll have 2 new fenders.
Then, Sam, this whole thing was your fault. And I want you to phone Mr. Kittinger and say the boys won't be over for dinner.
Alice, Mr. Kittinger's one of my
Mother,
best
do you
clients.
suppose you and Father could argue in the living room so we could keep Joe entertained?
Henry, please go and answer that.
Downstairs, where Homer is?
Take it up here in my room.
Yes, sure.
Now, see here, Mary. Don't you know how to entertain Joe yourself?
Hello?
Hello?
Homer, where are you?
I'm right downstairs in your hall closet. Would you mind kindly getting off the line? Hello, Homer. This is String Bean Kittinger.
Homer, may I ask who gave you permission to take our phone into the hall closet?
Just ignore him, String Bean. How are you anyway? I'm fine.
That's good.
Now listen, Henry. How are you, Henry?
I'm fine.
That's good. Henry, get off the line. Homer, I could just die. You know that dinner invitation? What dinner invitation? My goodness, didn't you know? I invited you and Henry over here for dinner. You did? Oh, boy.
Homer, my mother says we have to go to Kathleen Anderson's for dinner.
Are you going to the Andersons?
Sure.
String Bean, what time do you want me to come over? Well, that's why I could die. When I got home, I found a note from my mother sitting under a can of pork and beans. They've been invited out to dinner. Well, darn it all anyway. Homer, do you like pork and beans? No. Neither do I.
Gee, I love them.
Listen, Henry, get off the line. Well, Homer, listen. My mother left the phone number of the house they're having dinner at, and I'm going to phone up to get myself invited. Yeah, but what about me? That's easy. I'll just tell them a friend of mine is starving to death. And don't they know their duty as citizens? Mrs. Aldrich, isn't anybody going to answer this phone? Well, gee whiz. Hello?
Hello, is that you, Homer?
Yes?
Have you had your dinner yet?
Why, no.
Then, dear, would you like to come over here for dinner?
Well, gee whiz, who is this?
This is your mother.
My mother? And you're inviting me over for dinner?
Yes. The Kittingers are here. You remember the Kittingers and their daughter, String Bean? Yes, I've got it on the phone, String Bean.
Gee, and you'd really like to have me?
Why, yes, I don't know why I didn't think of it before.
Well, thank you very much. I'd be delighted.
You're sure you haven't had your dinner?
I'm positive.
Oh, well, come on then.
Boy, I'll be right over.
Take your time. Goodbye, dear.
Goodbye, and thank you.
Oh, Joe, is that... Oh, it's you.
Would you kindly mind stepping out of my way? I'm leaving.
You're leaving? I'd be delighted.
And would you mind sending me back my stuffed rattlesnake at your convenience?
I'll get it for you right now.
I'm sorry, but I can't wait. It happens I've been invited out for dinner, and my friends are very anxious for me to get there.
Well, you better get going.
Yeah. Well, it's been nice knowing you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well,
Well, I have to answer the phone.
well, goodbye.
Goodbye. Hello?
Hello, is that you, Henry?
Sure, Kathleen. How are you?
Well, I'm fine, but my goodness, we've been having the worst argument over here.
You have?
See, I told Mary to invite you and Homer over here for dinner, but the trouble is I should have asked my mother first.
You mean she doesn't want me?
Oh, she wants you all right, but she doesn't want Homer Brown.
She doesn't? Well, gee, that suits me right down to the ground.
Oh, my goodness, Henry, that's wonderful.
The only thing is, could I ask you one question?
Certainly, Henry.
All I want to know is, well, exactly what has your mother got against Homer?
Homer, your mother wants to know if you finished mashing the potatoes yet.
I'm mashing them. Boy, does that Henry Aldrich make me sore.
Me too.
Nobody in his whole family knows what they're doing. They invite you over for dinner, and where do you wind up? In the hall closet with a bunch of galoshes.
And imagine Henry eavesdropping on our telephone conversation like that.
Yeah, imagine. Although, it was his phone.
I know, but it was you I wanted to talk to, not him.
Sure, but just the same, he has a right to use his own phone if he wants to.
Oh, but he's so bossy.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, Homer Brownie's always telling you what to do.
Yeah? Well, maybe I like being told what to do.
Well, my goodness.
And I'll thank you to stop making insulting remarks about my best friend.
Mr. DeHaven,
Yes, Henry?
I guess I'll have another hamburger.
Another one? Say, didn't you have any dinner tonight?
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't. I was invited out for dinner, but, gee, I don't know. You take women. No, you take men.
What's that?
Yeah, you take men. You can talk to them for years, and boy, you always got lots to talk about. But you talk to a woman for 5 minutes, and gee, all she can talk about is men.
Well, you don't say.
Sure. All she can do is criticize your friends. Homer, my friends might have big appetites, but, boy, you never get bored with him. I mean, them.
Well, say, look who's here.
Who? Oh.
Mr. DeHaven, have you got anything decent to eat?
Sure thing, Homer. You get up on that stool and I'll fix you some hamburgers.
This stool? This stool right here?
Yeah, I'll have them for you in a minute.
Oh. Hi.
Hi.
Is this stool taken?
No, gee, no. Sit down.
Thanks.
Isn't it cold out?
Huh?
I said, isn't it cold out?
I'll say. Well, gee, how are you anyway?
I'm fine, Homer, just fine. How are you?
I'm swell. Hen?
Well, gee, Homer, old-timer. Listen, I still got $1.50. Why don't you say we go over to the candy kitchen and get a whole lot of dessert?
I wouldn't mind going to the mansion house.
No, sir.
But, Henry,
Listen, Homer, I got a better idea.
What?
Let's just stay here.
Swell.
Here are your hamburgers, Homer.
Oh, boy, do they look good.
They are, Homer.
Here, Hen. Have one of mine.
Thanks. Gee whiz, is that Joe Graham?
Hi, Henry. What are you doing here?
I'm having my dinner.
Say, are those hamburgers? That's just what I'm looking for.
Well, come on, sit down.
But, Joe, didn't you just have a duck dinner over at my house?
Well, I started to. Gee, I bet the whole thing never would have happened if the duck hadn't got burnt.
It did?
Yes, your mother and father were so busy talking upstairs they never would have noticed it if I hadn't smelled the smoke.
Gee whiz, you mean you couldn't eat it?
Well, we started to, but then your father began telling me how Mary does all the cooking, and the first thing your mother knew, Mary had dumped the gravy in her lap.
Gee, what did she do?
She went to bed.
Mary?
No, your mother. Mary went for the doctor.
My mother needed a doctor?
No, the doctor was for your father. You see, he was carrying a tray up to your mother, and he slid on some jelly beans and twisted his ankle.
Boy, I wish I'd been there.
Listen, Homer, if we'd been there, they'd only have blamed the whole thing on us. Here, Joe, would you like a hamburger?
Yeah, thanks.
Certainly too bad things had to go wrong. You're the only boyfriend Mary has.
Will somebody pass the ketchup?
Don't bother, Mary. It feels fine.
Just the same, I'd better follow the doctor's orders. And, Mother?
Yes, dear.
I'll get the ice bag for your head just as soon as I'm through.
Why, thank you, Mary. Sam, isn't she efficient?
She certainly is. The next time Joe comes for dinner, we must remember to tell him that Mary's a good nurse, too.
Oh, Father!
The Aldrich Family is based on characters originated by Clifford Goldsmith and stars Ezra Stone as Henry with Jackie Kelk as Homer. Mr. and Mrs. Aldrich are House Jameson and Catherine Ross.
This is the Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
That was the Aldrich Family from 1946. Now, I've really been looking forward to this. This is one of my favorite series of movies turned into a radio show. It's The Hardy Family. Featuring Mickey Rooney as Andy Hardy, it started out as a play called Skidding and then became a film called A Family Affair in 1937.
I'm going to take old Polly Benedict to the party and I'm going to dump her. I'm going to turn her over to Ben Davis or one of them Lottie-Dahs that like girls. Then I'm coming home and I'm going to bed. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, Andy Hardy, come right in. What's the matter? Anything wrong?
Oh, it's nothing. It's you. You've changed.
Since kindergarten? You're sweet, Andy.
How many dances you going to dance with me, Polly, huh?
Oh, Andy.
12 years after that first movie, they're still making Hardy pictures, and so they decided to turn it into a radio program as well. And it starts out with a good one. This episode is from November 15th, 1949.
From Hollywood, here's Mickey Rooney, Louis Stone, and Fay Holden in The Hardy Family. We're proud to present The Hardy Family, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer motion picture series, which brought delight to millions and reflected the common joys and tribulations of the average American family. And now here are the same great stars in the parts they created on the screen: Louis Stone, Mickey Rooney, and Fay Holden, The Hardy Family.
As judge of the Carmel Court, life can be pretty hectic and trying at times. That's why I enjoy my home more than a good many people, I imagine. My wife, Emily, is the most understanding woman in the world. And my son, Andrew Hardy, is, well, I'm afraid Andrew defies accurate description. But there's nothing I like better than to come home after a hard day, enjoy a good meal in the company of my family, then turn into a nice soft bed for 8 hours of blissful slumber, broken only by soft, bright morning sounds like...
James, the alarm clock, wake up.
Yes. I hear it, Emily. Where is the crazy contraption? Ah, there we are.
Good morning, dear.
Yeah, good morning. Emily, it's pitch black. My watch must have stopped. It says only 5 o'clock.
James, I do wish you'd get a new watch. Why, it's 5 minutes after 5.
Yes, I guess I should. Emily, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Why'd you set the alarm for this hour?
Oh, have you forgotten, dear? Andy's starting out today to look for his new job.
Well, Emily, my dear, you'll never find it in the dark.
Oh, well. Well, anyway, I thought we should give him a good send-off.
Well. Look at the sleepyheads. Hope you don't mind my breaking in like this, but gotta get out and hit the ball. Man in business can't fritter his time away in bed.
I think I'll just fritter away in a couple of hours, if you don't mind.
Oh, not at all, Dad. Ah, beautiful morning. Ah, smell that fresh air.
Well, I can't smell anything but that night-blooming jasmine.
Huh? Andy Hardy, did you get into my good bottle of jasmine cologne?
Mom, just a couple of drops behind my ears.
Andrew, perfume behind your ear. What kind of a job are you looking for?
Dad, there's more to it than just having your shoes shined. An applicant for a job can't look droopy. You ought to smell good, too.
To think that I look for work with just a clean pair of socks.
Gotta make an impression, Dad.
Do you have the company in mind that you're going to work for, Andy?
Mother, the old-fashioned way is for the company to select the employees.
Oh, no, Dad. That era is definitely dead. I'm going to handle this in an intelligent, modern manner.
Andrew, if you'd like a little advice from a man who's old enough to be your father...
Oh, sure, Dad. I've got an open mind.
I've always found that a young man starting out in the world should be grateful for any opportunity. Take any position, no matter how small, and prove something to yourself first.
Dad, if you don't mind my saying it, you're a little long hair.
Well, Andy, your father just had a haircut yesterday.
Well, Emily, long hair is simply an expression in the mode modern manner. Is that right, Andrew?
That's right. No offense, Dad.
Oh, that's all right. I'm open-minded, too. But tell me, just how did you expect to approach this job problem?
Simple. Start from the top. That's the smart thing. Get there and make it while you're young enough to enjoy it.
Well, that's commendable. But a lot of organizations seem to feel that a man should start with a lesser position and sort of grow up with the company.
Not me, Dad. I'd rather start at the top and just remain in a beautiful rut.
Andy Hardy, what are you doing here this time of the morning?
Take a good look, Polly. Don't you notice something?
Well, you've got that Cataway the Canary look like the first time you kissed me.
Polly, for gosh sakes, that sort of thing is for kids. A man with an important new job doesn't go around kissing girls.
Oh?
But I don't start my job until tomorrow, so pucker up.
Right out here on the front porch.
I kiss on impulse. This morning I'm loaded with impulses.
Come inside, please.
All right.
Now, what's this about an important new job?
Not a job, Polly, a position.
Oh.
I've just been handed a very responsible position with the Carvel Magnesium Company. Junior executive.
Oh, Andy. Really? What did your father say?
Oh, I haven't told him yet. He's in court, and I won't see him until lunchtime. That's why I dropped by to see you, Polly. Got a million big things on my mind, urgent business matters, you know. I thought I might relax here for a few minutes. You're a nice, dull, restful sort of girl.
Well, lie down somewhere and go to sleep.
Go to sleep? No, I couldn't sleep with all my worries. Say, Polly, does your father happen to have any pills around here?
Pills?
Yeah, you know, executive-type pills, nerve pills, indigestion pills, any of those things?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
Daddy's only a minor official with his company, you know.
Fortunate man. I tell you, Polly, I can't take this terrific executive pace. Got to get out of town for a couple of weeks this year.
But, Andy, you said your new position doesn't start until tomorrow.
Polly, these things are way over your head.
Oh, I don't know, Andrew Hardy. It'll be a struggle, but I think I can manage to follow you.
Seriously, girl, there's something I've got to talk to you about. Sit down here on the Davenport beside me.
Goodness, you sound so serious.
Oh, you've got to be brave about this. I don't think I'm going to be able to see you much anymore. We move in different spheres. You in your land of girlish make-believe, and I in the upper stratosphere of high finance.
Andy, move a little closer.
Wall Street is calling me, Polly, and I know you won't stand in the way.
A little closer, Andy.
How can I talk over stocks and bonds? Ticker tape, if
Kiss me, Andy.
10th Anaconda Coppers. Miss Wall Street is...
There. Now you were saying, Andy?
Polly, where did you learn to handle big businessmen like that?
Well, Andrew, it's nice of you to come and have lunch with me.
Dad, I've got a position.
Well, now, I guess this is McCain. Sit down, son.
I'm a junior executive with the Carvel Magnesium Company. Big outfit, you know, $1 million a year.
Well, that's fine. But I didn't think they'd pay you that much to start.
No, Dad, that's what they make.
Oh, good.
It'll probably take me several years to work up to a figure like that, I figure.
Well, Carvel Magnesium Company.
That's right.
Well, that's one of the most promising new organizations.
Yeah.
Andrew, what is that awful piece of chewed-up leather hanging out of your mouth?
Huh? It's a cigar, Dad, junior executive size.
Oh, I see. I suppose that's the proper thing. I wouldn't really know.
Oh, it's the right thing. You care for one?
No, thanks. Tell me, do they come all limp and soggy like that?
No, you work them into this condition, you see. An executive never has time to light a cigar, then.
Amazing how much you know about those things, son. Are they nice people at the Magnesium Company?
I don't really know. I got the position over the telephone.
You mean that you just called up and they gave you a junior executive's position?
Yeah. They told me I'd have to wait 3 days for a personal interview, so I just called them up.
Well, that's amazing.
Not at all. Simple business psychology. But what I really dropped in for, Dad, was to have a little man-to-man talk about money matters.
Well, Andrew, man to man, I don't think I can spare any today.
Huh? Oh, wait. I don't mean that. I want to discuss giving you some money.
Well, man to man, that's the kind of a man-to-man talk I like.
Yes, I plan to contribute to the house from now on, so I'd kind of like to see how you split up the loot.
The loot?
Yeah, I'd like a breakdown on the family budget.
I see. Well, I got the books on the house right here in my desk drawer. Now, here we are. Household accounts and budget for the current year.
I figure on my income after deducting expenses incurred in running my own affairs, of course, contributions and things. I'll be giving you at least, $5 a week.
$5 a week?
Yeah.
Wonder what we do with all that money.
Oh, Dad, if there's any left over, just put it in the retirement fund for yourself. I'd like it that way, Dad.
Well, that's mighty thoughtful of you, Andrew. Nice to have that kind of security. Now, let's see how we'll spread this $5 of yours around. Food budget for this month is $120. We'll put $1 of your money toward that.
$120, Dad. We're going to have to cut down on this expensive eating.
Yes, well, I don't think we can quite cut it down to $1. Now, what did you say to $1 toward clothing?
Dad, how are you going to dress anybody on $1? Why, that wouldn't even buy Mom a small hat.
My son, you have just learned one of life's most difficult lessons.
Dad, you know, I don't know how you've been doing it all these years. When I think of all the money I've taken from you, you must have invested a fortune in me.
Well, Andrew, I never made a whole lot of money. My children, you and Marion, have been my main investments. You're my fortune.
Gosh, Dad, you and Mom, you're pretty special people.
No. We're pretty ordinary people.
Well, just the same. It's about time I took some of the load off of you. From now on, you can count on me for $6 a week.
James, I think it's just wonderful the way Andy went out on his first day of job hunting and was made vice president of a big amnesia company.
Oh, no, Mother. He's only a junior executive, and it's a magnesium company.
Well, so long as he's happy, that's all that matters.
Yes, and I'm very happy, too. Emily.
Yes, dear?
Do you remember how I was when I was young?
Well, you were a little awkward, but very nice, James.
No, I mean mentally. Was I bright, quick-witted, as smart as the young fellows are today?
Well, I don't know about that, dear, but you dressed nicely. And you always had a good mind, James. Although you were a little slow on some things.
I was?
Yes, you just didn't seem to grasp certain facts.
Good heavens, Emily, what facts?
Well, you just couldn't seem to get it through your head that we were going to get married until I practically came right out and told you.
Yes, maybe I was a little stupid at that, Emily.
Oh, no. You got the idea awfully quick, dear.
But I just can't understand how a young fellow these days can make a telephone call and wind up with a junior executive's job.
Oh, no, isn't that a coincidence? You know, Andy did just that very thing today.
I know, Emily. That's what I'm referring to. You know, my court calendar's clear tomorrow. Now, why don't we take a few hours off and go downtown and drop in and surprise Andrew on this new job?
Oh, I think that'd be wonderful. Oh, you'd be so proud.
Fine. I've just got to see what a junior executive does.
Good afternoon, Carbo Magnesium Company. Just a minute, sir. I'll switch you to his office. Go ahead, please. Gee, Myrtle, it certainly is thrilling working at this company.
Don't get excited, kid. You only started yesterday.
Oh, I know, but so many handsome men. And lots of big executives and things.
You'll get used to that. Everybody in this place has a title. They give you that instead of money.
Oh.
Yeah. Take Mr. Franklin. He's a first assistant to the secretary-treasurer.
Gee.
He's a bookkeeper. Tomorrow we've got a fellow, Andrew Hardy, coming to work as a junior executive. And he's only the office boy.
Oh, no.
In a moment, we will return to the Hardy family. But first, a word from your announcer. And now, back to the Hardy family, starring Mickey Rooney, Louis Stone, and Fay Holden.
Well, Andrew starts to work as a junior executive this morning. Why, it's hard to visualize. I still can't help thinking of him as a very young boy with his feet in the clouds and his head in a whirl over the latest dance craze or souped-up hot rods or some other strange and mysterious thing. But Andy's growing up. Only this morning he said to me,
Dad, a man my age is foolish to waste a lot of time on girls. I should be thinking of women.
It's hard for me to imagine Andy walking into the Carvel Magnesium Company to start his new job.
Pardon me, miss.
Yeah?
Young lady, I'm a junior executive at this company. Reporting to my job today. Hardy's the name. Andrew Hardy. Where's my office?
Gee, I don't know, Mr. Hardy.
Terrible inefficiency. I'll take care of that.
Yes, sir.
By the by, do you devote yourself exclusively to this organization, or is your mind always on your boyfriend?
Oh, no, sir. I don't have a boyfriend.
Good. I'll take care of that, too. See you later, honey.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hardy.
Boy, come here a minute.
Calling me boy.
Yes. Noticed you bothering that secretary over there. Bad, very bad policy.
Yeah, but good, very good secretary.
Just what is your position with this company?
Well, I'm in charge of office details, the paper clips and things.
Got in through a relative, huh?
Who are you?
Son, I'm starting a very responsible job here today.
Oh, pardon me. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
It's all right. Whose office is that over there?
Mr. Jordan's, third vice president.
Oh.
Been with the company 26 years.
26 years, and only third vice president. No wonder, he's never in his office. I'll move in and you find him a new office, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, young lady, step into my office, please.
Can I bring my notebook?
Yes, and it wouldn't hurt to bring a pencil, too.
I'm ready, sir.
Good. Come in. Take a memorandum to all secretaries. From now on, all secretaries will report to me every evening before going home.
What
And all secretaries...
The desk is ringing, sir.
Interruptions, always interruptions. I'll take it. My gosh, 5 telephones. No wonder this guy Jordan never's got anywhere. He spent all his time collecting phones.
It's the one on the end.
I know. Hello? Mr. Hardy speaking. Who? Washington calling collect? Then refuse it. This company can't afford to waste money on long-distance calls like that.
Mr. Hardy, that may have been one of our representatives in Washington.
Well, he's on salary. Let him drop the nickel on his end. My girl, there's going to be a lot of changes around here very soon.
Hardy! Where's this Hardy?
I'm Hardy. Can I be of service, sir?
Yes, you can get out of this office immediately.
Now, just a minute, old man. Let's not have a scene. This is a business office. If you care to...
I know that, and it's my office.
Well,
Hardy, who in the name of thunder are you, and what are you doing in my office?
Mr. Jordan, I'm the new junior executive here. I know it's a hard blow to you, but I'm afraid you're being pushed aside to make way for new blood.
There'll be new blood around here, all right, and it'll be yours. Lenny!
Oh, yes, Mr. Jordan, you screamed? You called?
You know this fellow Hardy?
Oh, yes, Mr. Jordan. He was hired yesterday over the phone.
Yes.
He's the new junior executive office boy.
What? There must have been some mistake.
You bet there is. Get him out of here and put him with the carbon paper and pencil sharpeners.
What?
Yes, sir. Come along, Mr. Hardy.
Oh, wait a minute.
Office boy, sharpen this pencil, please.
Yes, ma'am, but I just sharpened it.
Well, I just dotted an I with it. I don't like dull pencils.
Yes, ma'am.
Office boy, where's that cup of water you were bringing me?
Yeah, right, yes. Here it is, sir. What would you like me to do with it?
Drown yourself in it.
Wait a minute. Look, I don't have to take all this for $15 a week.
No! You can quit any time.
No, I can't do that. I told too many... I just can't.
Listen, everybody, listen to this. The family of one of our more prominent junior executives has dropped in to pay a call on him. They're in the lobby.
Well, who is it, Myrtle?
Judge and Mrs. James Hardy and Miss Polly Benedict.
No. Send them away. Tell them I was called out of town unexpectedly.
Oh, not at all. Show them in, Myrtle.
Wait a minute.
We can't keep the family of one of our top men waiting.
No, please, I don't care for myself, but you can't embarrass my family like that.
Have you been telling little white lies to the folks?
Been telling great big fat purple ones.
Well, calm down, Hardy. Relax. We'll all go along with you. We won't give anything away.
You won't? Gosh, would you do that?
Absolutely.
I'll never forget it. Oh, here they come now. Very nice. Hello, Mom. Dad, Polly.
Andy, we just couldn't resist dropping in for a minute.
Well, son, it's good to see you with a big, responsible organization like this. You must be getting quite a kick out of it.
You should only know the kicks I've been getting. Well, Polly, it's nice of you to drop around, too, dear.
Oh, I'm so proud of you, Andy. You've just got junior executive written all over you.
Andrew, isn't this young man one of your associates?
Huh? Oh, yeah, Mr. Lenny Barton, I'd like you to meet my mother and father, Judge and Mrs. Hardy. Lenny.
How do you do?
Very glad to know you.
Well, it certainly was nice of you to drop around, folks.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes, son?
Isn't there another member of your family?
Andy, I think Mr. Barton means Polly here.
Oh, well, now, how would you like to go outside?
Mr. Hardy?
Yes, Barton?
I'd love to meet the young lady.
Yes, I know. Well, folks, how about going outside?
Mr. Hardy, have you seen the office boy around here lately?
Lenny Barton, this is Miss Polly Benedict.
Well, hello.
Oh, Andy, we only drop in for a minute. I know you must have a million important executive things to do.
Yes, we just dropped in to wish you good luck, son.
Well, don't go so soon, Dad. I'd ask you to go into my office except for some men. They're in there fixing it up, redecorating, you know.
Yes, you should have seen it before Mr. Jordan got here this morning. Oh, it was a mess.
Mr. Jordan? You mean Bill Jordan?
Yes, sir.
Why, I believe I know him. I think I'll just drop in, say hello.
Dad, wouldn't you rather go outside and wave to him from across the street?
Oh, office boy, Mr. Jordan wants to see you right away.
Oh, office boy? Well, I haven't seen him.
Stop clowning and get in Mr. Jordan's office. He just found out that you ruined a big deal in Washington this morning.
Well,
Andy, you're the office boy?
Yes, Mom.
Now, Emily, there's many a president who was once an office boy.
Oh, really, James? Who?
Well, let's put it this way. There's many a president who should have been an office boy.
Dad, I didn't know. I was going to tell you later if...
Oh, Andy, I'm afraid we shouldn't have dropped in.
No, Mom, it's all right. I just found out I wasn't as important here as I thought. But, Dad,
Yes, son?
If Mr. Jordan is going to do what I think he's going to do, I may be able to swing a good assault and battery case your way.
In a moment, the Hardy family will return. And now here again is the Hardy family.
Well, son, you've had your first experience in the world of big business.
The whole thing was a misunderstanding. That's why I resigned. I learned one thing, though. You just can't close big deals over the phone.
Well, I think it was very noble of you to accept the job and go through with it anyway, Andy.
Thanks, Ma. You know, folks, you've been swell about this. You were right, Dad. A man ought to start at the bottom and work his way up.
Well, that's very intelligent reasoning. But I think the most important lesson you learned was humility. That's a very important factor in deciding a man's career.
I feel like a first-class schmo.
Oh,
I do.
Well, don't feel too bad. I've been saving a little surprise for you. The Carvel Magnesium Company's been calling for the last several hours.
They have?
Yes. Very anxious to have you come back. Report the first thing in the morning, Mr. Jordan said.
Now, you see, I guess they realized that things began to hum around there when I started. Why, I'll have
Andrew, now just remember. Humility, my boy.
Oh, sure, Dad. I'll go back tomorrow and sharpen pencils like they've never been sharpened. See you later, folks. I'm going over to Polly and tell her about the good news.
Oh, James, wasn't that sweet of the company to call and ask Andy to come back?
Yes, Emily, but...
Well, I guess they know the value of a young man like Andy, even if he's only the office boy.
I guess so, Emily,
Well,
but...
I guess they just found they couldn't get along without him.
That's right. Mr. Jordan said that Andrew had the only key to the men's lounge.
The Hardy Family, starring Louis Stone, Mickey Rooney, and Fay Holden, is presented by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Producers of Battleground, starring Van Johnson, John Hodiak, Ricardo Montalban, and George Murphy. The Hardy Family is written by Jack Rubin and Jameson Brewer from characters created by Urania Ruberall. Direction is by Thomas A. McAvity. Original music was composed and conducted by Jerry Fielding.
That was the Hardy Family from 1949. I have one more episode of the Aldrich Family. In this episode, they mentioned Joe DiMaggio. He was a baseball player for the New York Yankees, an all-star in every year he played, and he had just retired the year before this episode. In the same sentence, they actually make another reference, Gorgeous George. He was a pro wrestler with a big hulking body and blonde curls. This episode is from September 28th, 1952. Enjoy the show.
Henry Aldrich!
Coming, Mother.
Yes, it's The Aldrich Family, written by Clifford Goldsmith. There's an old saying that claims you're only young once. But as a matter of fact, you can be young more than once. And the best way of doing that is to share the misadventures of a typical boy like Henry Aldrich. He'll take you right back to your own teenage days. The scene is the living room of Nancy Adams, one of Henry's favorite classmates. And the time is evening.
Nancy, tell me honestly, what is it you like about Bill Turner?
Oh, I don't know, Henry. I just like him. Don't you?
Well, sure, he's all right. If you like athletes.
What's the matter with athletes?
Nothing. Except they're so athletic. Well, I mean, well, to hear Bill Turner talk, you think he was Joe DiMaggio, the Notre Dame football team, and Gorgeous George all rolled into one.
Not so loud, Henry. He might hear you.
How would he hear me? He's out in the front hall. And I like him, only... Frankly, is there any way of getting rid of him?
You mean you don't like him?
Well, sure, I'm crazy about him, only... Hey,
Nancy!
Gee whiz.
Nancy, did I ever tell you about the time I dove off the top of the boathouse?
Oh, Bill, I didn't even know anybody could climb up that high.
Oh, it's easy. And you know that flagpole down at the end of the lake?
Yes.
I dove off that once, too.
Nancy, how's your mother?
Oh, She's better, Henry. She just strained her back a little.
Boy, was that some luck I had in the game Saturday. You remember when those 3 guys tackled me and I carried them right across the goal for a touchdown?
Oh, that was just wonderful, Bill. I don't see how you stood up.
Nancy, what kind of a television set is this?
I don't know. Hey, Henry, could you or Bill open this window a little, please?
Sure, why not?
Wait a minute, Henry. I'll open it.
Well, that's all right, Bill. I've got it practically...
Is it stuck, Henry?
No, it isn't stuck. I just... Could you stand back, please, Bill?
How am I in the way?
I want to get some leverage.
Here, Henry, let me show you how to open it.
Now, look out, Bill. All I have to do is... Nancy, would you mind if I push this sofa away?
No, Henry.
Well, don't get up. I'll push you along. Along. Well, maybe if you just got up for a second, Nancy. Well, never mind the sofa. I'll just... Gee whiz, who opened that window?
I did.
You know, I thought I had it started. I just should have kept at it.
Anything else you want done, Nancy?
Well, there's some ginger ale out in the kitchen if one of you
Gee
wants
whiz,
to...
I'll get it for you, Nancy. You stay where you are, Bill.
You sure you don't need any help lifting the bottles?
You'll find everything out there on a tray, Henry. All you have to do is put some ice in the glasses.
I'll be right back.
Nancy, isn't there any way of getting rid of him?
This evening?
Sure.
Bill, Henry Aldrich is one of the nicest...
Nancy, I'm not saying he isn't. Only, frankly...
Frankly, what?
Well, 3's a crowd. And frankly, I have crowds cheering for me every time I go out on the field. I want to be alone.
Excuse me, Nancy, but is there any special way of getting your ice trays loose?
Well, my mother never has any trouble, Henry. All she does is pull, and they come right out.
That's funny. I'll take another crack at it.
Nice guy. I'd like to see him come out for football practice some afternoon.
Bill, what did I tell you about sympathy and understanding?
Oh, I understand, Henry. That's why I have no sympathy for him. But forget about him. What about that dance Friday night?
What about it?
Well, what time should I... You know, he's going to wreck your refrigerator. What time should I call for you?
Oh, about 7.
Nancy,
Yes, Mother?
are those boys playing football down there?
No, Mother. Henry's getting some ice.
I'll pick everything up, Nancy. Does your father have a hammer I could use with this screwdriver? Or a small crowbar would be even better.
Henry, what's that all over your suit?
It's... Well, you see, I was aiming for the ice cubes, but... Was your mother planning to have tomato juice for dinner?
Why?
There's a freshly opened can in the icebox.
Oh, my goodness.
Of course, if they're going out for dinner, it'll keep till tomorrow's lunch.
Out of the way, Henry. I'll get the ice out.
Now, wait a second, Bill. You'll need something to loosen it with.
What's the matter with my hands?
Some guys sure love to brag. Why, if Bill Turner...
Ooh! Hey, who put butter on the floor?
I just took it out so I could get better leverage.
Nancy, will 1 tray of ice be enough?
Gee, did I loosen it that much?
Nancy, I don't think you'll feel the same way about you-know-who once you get a look at your mother's kitchen.
I think I better be going.
Oh, Henry, do you have to?
Well, I've got a lot of homework to do, and I think I better. Don't you?
Well, if you have to.
I had a very swell evening, though.
Oh, I'm awfully glad, Henry.
Well, so long.
You really have to go.
I think I better.
Aldrich, would you mind closing that door? The coach told me to keep out of drafts.
Oh, sure. I didn't realize I was keeping the door open. What time should I call for you Friday evening?
Friday evening?
Sure, for the dance.
Henry, I didn't promise to go with you, did I?
Why, sure. You didn't?
Well, I don't see how I could have. I'm going with Bill.
Oh. With Bill?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Henry. I guess you must have misunderstood me.
Hey, what about that door?
I'll walk you out to the porch.
No, you go back and have your ginger ale. I can find my way all right.
Well, I hope you understand, Henry.
Oh, sure. You and Bill just go ahead and enjoy yourselves.
Sam, could you pass the toast, please?
Here you are, dear. Why didn't Henry go to the dance?
Well, dear, that's what I don't know. Do you remember the other evening when he came home from Nancy Adams soaking wet?
When?
Last week, dear. A couple of nights before the dance. He walked into the house covered with tomato juice. And Sam Henry hasn't been himself since then.
Did you have a talk with him?
Yes, and all he'd say was he felt dancing was a waste of time.
Mother!
Mary, come in here and eat your breakfast.
Mother, what's this letter all about?
What letter?
Why, it's the silliest thing I've ever seen. It must be for Father.
May I see it, please?
Who's it from, Sam?
From the Lionel Strongford Institute of Physical Development, Incorporated. Dear Mr. Aldrich, are you a man or a mouse?
I knew all the time it wasn't for me.
Yeah. No man can make his mark in the world. No man can inspire the love of a good woman unless he is willing to develop his inner potential strength in our 26-week course.
Sam, what in the world is that?
I don't know, Alice, but I'm fascinated. We can give you a money-back guarantee if your chest expansion does not increase by at least 2 inches during the first 6 lessons.
How many inches, Father?
Keep quiet, Mary. That's just the first 6 lessons. We also offer a shorter course for the busy executive, interested in only partial development. Remember, decide now. Yours truly.
Father, what's that?
P.S. Reply by return mail and receive free 1 genuine simulated nylon tape measure, especially designed for checking your chest development.
Dear, when did you write for that?
May I see the envelope, please?
Father, it's addressed to Mr. Harold Aldrich. Who's he?
I have no idea whether he's a man or a mouse.
Well, put the letter back in the envelope, please. It's probably for Henry.
Mother, why would he want to develop?
I don't know, dear. And besides, it's none of our business. Please put it back in the envelope.
Well, I think I'll walk to the office this morning.
Why, Sam, you haven't walked to the office in 6 years.
Well, of course I have. I walked a couple of times just this last summer. It made me feel great.
I'll get your top coat for you, Father.
A coat? A coat? Why would I want a coat?
Well, I can at least get your hat.
Goodbye, Alice.
Goodbye.
Are you leaving?
Goodbye, son.
Goodbye. Mother, do you have any idea where my blue and white tie is?
Your blue and white tie? No, dear. Now sit down and eat your breakfast.
But, Mother, I've got to find it.
There'll be plenty of time to find it after you've eaten. Turn around.
What's the matter?
I think you ought to have those shoulders on that coat taken in a little.
Taken in, Mother? You just want to throw your money away? They'll be filled out in 26... I mean, before you know it.
Henry, dear, please sit down. I want to ask you something.
What about?
What in the world is the trouble?
The trouble? The trouble? Gee whiz, I don't know of any trouble.
But you aren't yourself, dear, and when anyone speaks to you, you're way up in the air.
Well, I'm not up in the air, Mother. I may be a little upset because I can't find my blue and white tie, but otherwise I feel fine.
Then why not eat your breakfast?
I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat it.
How's Nancy Adams these days?
Nancy Adams? Mother.
Well, all I asked is, how is she?
You see this book here, Mother? You see this book?
Yes.
Well, that gives you an idea of what little interest I have in Nancy Adams.
What about the book?
I borrowed it from her 2 weeks ago.
Well?
I'm returning it.
Well, that's fine.
I'm returning it, but that's all. That's as far as I go. She asked me whether I'd like to keep it and finish it. I'll tell her I'm not even slightly interested.
Well, that's fine, dear. Now drink your milk.
You know what else?
What?
That's all right. Never mind. But if her folks can't afford a better icebox than the one they have... Gee whiz, do you like Bill Turner?
Bill Turner? I hardly know him.
He got a lot to learn. He just goes around... You know what he thinks?
Henry, what's your ambition in life?
My ambition, Mary? What do you mean?
That's all. I just wondered whether you wanted to be a man or a mouse.
Mary, I haven't any time for small talk. Have you seen my blue and white tie?
No, but I'd love to see your chest expansion.
Now, Mary?
That's what I say, Mother.
But, Mother, all I was going to ask him was if he was going to take the short course or the 26-week course.
Mary, will you please give Henry that letter?
A letter?
I don't think it's for you, though, Henry.
Mary, give me that letter.
Are you Mr. Harold Aldrich?
Mary, you come back with that. Do you realize that's United States mail?
Mary? Mother, it says right on the envelope, may be open for inspection.
Mary, if you don't give me that...
Oh, we won't break anything. I'm just helping Henry develop.
Now, listen, Mary, you're only going to make me late for school.
You want to take it with you and show it to Nancy Adams?
Mary, if you breathe one word about this to her, I'll... Mary, come back down here with that.
What are you writing, Henry? Henry, what are you doing?
Homer, is there a class in this room next period?
Sure. Henry, what are all those questions you're filling out?
Nothing, Homer, nothing important. It's just some information I've got to send away. Could you measure my chest just once more, please?
It's pretty hard with this ruler.
Well, just go around me real slow.
It's, exactly 2 1/4.
2 1/4?
2 1/4 rulers. That's 27 inches.
27 inches? For my chest?
Don't you think I better take off a half inch for where I went around the corner?
The only thing is, Homer, my thigh was 27, too. You mean my thigh is as big as my chest?
It is.
Boy, Homer, I don't want to mislead anyone.
Listen, Henry, what is it you're sending for?
Nothing, Homer. Gee whiz, why would I... Do you know whether Nancy Adams has a class here next period?
Sure. I thought you were ignoring her.
I am. That's why I'm waiting to return this book. When I hand it to her, it's going to end everything.
Well, let me see that letter just for a second. Will you, Henry?
Homer, don't you see what's printed right at the top of it? Strictly confidential.
What does that question at the bottom mean?
What question?
Do you have flat feet?
Now, listen, Homer, that just shows how your imagination works.
Well, what did it say then?
Keep quiet, Homer. Miss Watson just came into the room.
Miss Watson?
Well, boys, you certainly look busy.
We are, Miss Watson.
You working on your biology?
Well, in a way we are.
Well, now, isn't that fine? You know we're going to start working on mice next week.
We are? On mice?
Yes, we're going to compare their development with that of man.
What's that?
Come on, Henry. That's the end of the period. There's a class coming in.
Hello, Henry. What are you doing in here?
Well, I'll tell you, Nancy, I've been waiting... I've been filling out... I've been...
Henry, you're getting ink all over yourself.
I am?
Here's a blotter.
Well, Nancy, I just wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed this book.
Oh, I'm awfully glad you returned it, Henry, because Bill Turner is anxious to get it.
He is?
Are you sure you're through with it?
Oh, yeah. After all, even if I weren't through with it, naturally, if Bill wants the book...
Where have you been for the last week?
Just around. Just around every place.
Hey, Henry, come on.
You go ahead, Homer. I may be held up here a second.
Quiet, please.
Oh, you better go, Henry.
I just wanted to tell you, though, how much I enjoyed your book.
Henry Aldrich, don't you have a class this period?
Yes, Miss Watson. I'm on my way right this minute.
Goodbye, Henry.
Goodbye.
Boy, is Nancy a good-looking girl, Henry.
Do you think she's so good-looking?
I think she's terrific.
Well, the way I think of her, she's good-looking, but I wouldn't ever want to...
Henry, let me have a look at that letter, will you?
What letter?
About your flat feet.
Now, Homer, listen. Homer, where is that letter?
I haven't got it.
Homer, I put it in this Latin book. I put it right here in the ablative absolute section.
Well, don't look at me. I didn't even touch your letter.
Do you suppose I put it in Nancy's book?
You did? Well, why would she be interested in your flat feet?
Homer, I didn't know I put them there. I mean, the letter there. I was just talking to her, and I may have just stuck it in there.
Well...
Homer, I've got to get that letter.
Why?
Think I want a thing like that to be read publicly by Nancy?
Well, you certainly can't get it now, Henry.
Maybe they haven't started class yet.
Well, I'm not going in with you. I don't want the whole class to look at me.
Be quiet, Homer. I'm going back in and get that letter.
Will you all get your pencils, please? I beg your pardon, Henry Aldrich. Is there something we can do for you?
Why, Miss Watson, I'm sorry to interrupt your lesson like this, but I just returned Nancy to a book. Nancy's desk has something in it I'd like... need.
Well, is it anything you can't do without for the rest of the period?
Well, yes, ma'am. I just have to have it.
Well, if it won't take more than a second, you may go to her desk and get it.
Thank you, Miss Watson.
In the meantime, will all of you be copying what's written on the board here? Quiet, please.
Nancy.
Henry, what on earth is it you want?
I'd like to borrow that book again.
But, Henry, you didn't have to come all the way back into class and embarrass me.
But I just happen to remember. I haven't finished it.
I thought you said you had finished.
So did I until I got out in the hall.
Henry, will you hurry, please?
Yes, Miss Watson.
Here, Henry.
Thanks very much.
Henry, may I ask what book that is?
This book I just got from Nancy?
Yes.
Well, it's just a book.
What is the title?
Rita's Revenge.
And that is the book you were in so much of a hurry to get?
Well, I'll tell you, it isn't the story I'm so anxious to get.
The book, please.
The whole book?
The whole book.
Couldn't I take just one look?
Please don't open it.
No?
May I have it, please?
Yes, Miss Watson.
And I should like to see Nancy Adams immediately after class.
But Miss Watson,
Henry,
she didn't...
will you please leave this classroom?
Yes, Miss Watson. I'll go.
We'll come back to the Aldrich family in just a moment. Sundays on this station are really full of top radio shows, but I'd like to tell you about just one of them, Theater Guild on the Air. For 7 seasons, the Theater Guild has been bringing you the brightest stars of Broadway and Hollywood in some of the world's greatest plays. Tonight, the comedy attraction is Ring Lardner's baseball story, Elmer the Great. And your stars are Eddie Bracken and Wanda Hendricks. Now, the play concerns Elmer Kane, a pitcher with the best right arm in the 3-eye league, but a brain which has failed to vibrate with a clear thought since birth. Now, Elmer refuses to leave Gentryville, Illinois for the big league because he's in love with Nellie Poole, owner of the grocery where he drives the delivery wagon. But Nellie guesses his secret and fires Elmer. Well, from then on, it's all Ring Lardner fun. So check your newspaper for broadcast times and tune to NBC tonight for Theater Guild on the Air. You'll enjoy Elmer the Great. And now, getting back to the troubles of Henry Aldrich. Henry has decided that he needs a course in physical development. And after filling out the rather intimate questions on the application blank, he discovers that he has left the blank in a book belonging to Nancy Adams. The scene opens in Henry's school at the close of a period.
Listen, Henry, this will make 2 classes I've missed just because of you.
Homer, all you have to do is just walk up to Miss Watson's desk there, pick up Nancy's book, and walk out with it. It's as easy as pie.
Are you sure Miss Watson isn't in there?
No one's in there. There isn't a soul in there now.
You like pie. Why don't you go in and get it?
Well, gee whiz, Homer, I was going to stand here in the doorway and keep watch for you.
Well, if anyone does come along, Henry, give me a signal. Clear your throat.
Sure, I'll sort of cough.
Okay, I'll go.
That's it. Just walk right up as though you own the place.
Which book is it?
The one your hand is on.
This isn't it.
Sure it is. Isn't that book blue?
Sure, but it's The Advanced Essence of Poetry.
It must be there, Homer.
Well, come here and show it to me.
All right. Wait a second. I'll close the door part way.
If it was here, it would be here.
Homer, I'm almost positive Miss Watson didn't take it with her.
All right, show it to me.
Well, gee whiz, it's a book with a blue cover.
A blue cover? Oh, this must be it.
Yes, Miss Watson.
Henry, someone's out in the hall.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Quick, Homer, duck. Have you got it?
Where are we duck?
Get down here beside her desk.
Did they come in, Henry?
No, they just closed the door.
Well, come on. Let's get out of here.
Not so fast, Homer. Wait until they've gone down the hall.
But, Henry, I've got to get to my next class.
Quiet. Open the door easy.
I'm going to. It must be stuck.
Let me try it.
Henry, this is all your fault.
Now, don't get panicky, Homer. We'll get it open.
How? It's locked.
You're crazy. Why would anybody lock a door in broad daylight? All we have to do is throw ourselves against it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Don't you stand there, Homer. Help me up. I guess they locked it all right.
You mean we're locked in? And I can't get to solid geometry?
Well, at least they didn't see us, Homer.
But, Henry, I'm weak in geometry as it is.
Well, all we have to do is climb out that window.
But what good will that do? We're way up on the 3rd floor.
Homer, stop arguing. Give me that book and let's go.
Nancy, could you take these keys down to the main office, please?
Yes, Miss Watson.
And Nancy, if you're quite sure you won't let this book interfere with your studies anymore, you may have it.
Yes, Miss Watson.
I'm sorry you let Henry Aldrich have it. After all, he has much more important things to attend to than Rita's revenge.
Yes, Miss Watson.
He's a very nice boy, Nancy. At least he has his good points. But I do wish you'd become more interested in someone who takes things just a bit more seriously than Henry does.
Yes, Miss Watson.
Be careful, Homer. Do you want to knock me off this fire escape?
Well, gee whiz, Henry, we have to get out of here somehow.
Don't you realize this fire escape goes right past all the second-floor classrooms and never goes below the second floor?
Well, keep quiet, Henry. Suppose somebody should see us out here.
Let's close the window.
Now, quiet now, Henry.
I'm being quiet.
That's it. Make all the noise you can.
Homer, all we have to do now is go up the fire escape to the roof.
And then I suppose we just jump off.
It's bound to lead to something, Homer. Come on. Have you got Nancy's book?
Sure. Here, take it.
Is my letter in it?
I don't know.
Hey, Homer.
What?
This isn't Nancy's book. This is Miss Watson's report book.
A report book?
What made you think my letter'd be inside this?
You said blue, so I grabbed blue.
But you should have looked, Homer. Boy, if we get caught with this, we could even be expelled.
Just for having a report book?
Sure.
Well, you can be the one that takes it back, Henry.
All we have to do is open the window and...
Be sure no one's in there, Henry.
No one's in there. Gee whiz.
Lift, Henry.
I am lifting, Homer. Move back so I can get some leverage.
What's the matter, Henry? Are you weak?
Well, gee whiz, maybe I do need... Wouldn't you think I could at least open a window when it's an emergency?
Boy, you're really in a fix. You've got Miss Watson's reports, and Nancy's got your measurements.
Sure. And probably by this time, Nancy's read the whole thing. Come on, Homer, we've got to get off this fire escape.
Boys, what are you doing up there?
Who is it, Henry?
What are you doing up there?
It's Mr. Bradley. He's down in the courtyard.
Boys!
Why, but we're just trying to open a window, Mr. Bradley.
Don't you know the rules about going out on the fire escape?
Are there any special rules, Mr. Bradley?
What are your names?
Henry. Aldrich.
Who?
Homer Brown.
Who?
Henry and Homer.
Aldrich and Brown?
Yes, sir.
Come out of that fire escape and report to my office at once.
Yes, sir. How would you like to have us get there, Mr. Bradley?
Any way you can.
The only trouble is, Mr. Bradley...
What's that?
Nothing. We'll get down.
And how long have you been a student in this school, young man?
About 3 years, Mr. Bradley.
And this other young man?
About 3.5, Mr. Bradley. But that was on account of the mumps right on top of the measles.
I see. And you both know those fire escapes were placed there for emergency use only?
Well, the fact is, Mr. Bradley...
It wasn't enough that you were out on a fire escape. You climbed in a window and broke right into the middle of Professor Vanderhoff's French class.
Well, you see, Mr. Bradley, it was the only way we could get off the fire escape. Professor Vanderhoff's window was open and
Homer, must you lean on my desk?
No, sir, excuse me. I thought you were through with us.
I don't know whatever gave you that impression.
Excuse me, but can I interrupt you, Mr. Bradley?
You're Bill Turner, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I'm the one that carried 3 men over our goal Saturday.
And what were you sent in here for?
Well, I suppose I shouldn't have been reading this book during study hour, Mr. Bradley.
What's the title?
Rita's Revenge.
Rita's Revenge. I see. Henry.
Yes, Mr. Bradley?
What do you think of a boy who would spend his time reading a book like that?
Well, I guess it's pretty bad, Mr. Bradley.
That's what I say.
I see. Do you know what I think all 3 of you boys need?
No, sir.
Suppose you wait here, all of you, while I step out and get your records.
Yes, sir. Bill, where did you get that book?
From Nancy. And what business is it of yours?
Listen, Bill, could I borrow it a second?
Nancy's book?
All I want to do is take it for just 1 second.
What for?
I just want to... Can't you even let me look at it?
Keep your hands off.
Let me have that.
Keep away, do you hear me?
Hey, Henry, look at what fell out of it. There's your letter right in the floor.
Gee whiz. Bill Turner, you take your foot off that.
You make me.
You hear me? Take your foot off that letter.
Henry, somebody's coming.
I don't care.
Mr. Bradley, Miss Watson asked me... Henry.
Hello, Nancy.
Close the door.
Let go of my leg, Aldrich.
You lift your leg, do you hear me? Lift it.
Boy, stop him.
Lift his leg, Henry.
I need more leverage. Hey, Bill, cut it out. You're twisting my head.
Yeah? Bill Turner, you stop that.
Darn you, Bill. There.
Henry.
Gee, Henry, you knocked him out.
Oh, boy.
You lifted him right off the floor.
Hey, what happened?
Oh, he's all right, Henry. Pick him up before Mr. Bradley comes in.
Come on, Homer. Let's lift him onto the couch.
Oh. Listen, Aldrich, what did you hit me with?
I just used my bare hands. Didn't I, Nancy?
Now then, young man. Turner, did anyone invite you to lie down on that couch?
No, Mr. Bradley.
I'll help him up, Mr. Bradley.
Don't you think he can get up himself?
Well...
I'm up.
Well, young lady?
Oh, Miss Watson asked me to bring her keys down here.
I'll take them in 1 moment. Turner, here's what I want you to do. I want you to spend a part of each lunch hour for the next 10 days picking up the papers in the corridors of this building.
On all 3 floors?
On all 3 floors. And as for... How did Miss Watson's report book get here on my desk?
On your desk, Mr. Bradley?
Nancy, would you see that she gets it back?
Yes, sir.
Now then, Aldrich and Brown.
Yes, Mr. Bradley?
Yes, Mr. Bradley?
I'm sending you to the gym instructor. He needs a couple of huskies like you two to help him move the steel lockers.
Move them?
Yes, Henry.
Aren't there quite a few, Mr. Bradley?
There are 350 it will take every afternoon for the next 2 weeks.
Gee whiz!
That's all right, Homer. You heard what Mr. Bradley said. They need a couple of huskies like you and me.
Aldrich, what's that you're tearing up?
Nothing. It's just sort of a letter I've decided I won't need anymore.
The radar network to detect the approach of planes can't do the entire job of protecting our country from a devastating surprise air attack. That's up to us as individual citizens. Right now, the Air Defense Command needs 300,000 more volunteers for its Ground Observer Corps. Both men and women from teenage up can contribute a few hours of their time each week and perform a valuable service to our country. Write or phone your nearest Civil Defense Center or write to Ground Observer Corps, Air Force, Washington 25, D.C.
Well, gee.
Henry Aldrich, look at that window.
That's what I mean, Nancy. No matter what I touch these days, it crumbles right in my hands.
The Aldrich Family is written by Clifford Goldsmith. Henry is played by Bobby Ellis, and Homer by Johnny Fiedler. Mr. and Mrs. Aldrich are House Jameson and Catherine Roth. Your announcer is Dick Dudley. Listen again next week, same time, same station, for another sparkling half hour with the Aldrich Family.
Good night, everybody.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.